If you love cartoons and Sonic, then chances are 1993 was a good year for you. September 6 saw the debut of The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog from DiC Animation. And right from the word go, this show is very slapstick, caricature, and just all-out fun. Jaleel White became the first English-speaking voice actor for the mascot, and it was a perfect match. His voice was smooth, tons of charisma, and slightly squeaky. To this day, fans still consider him the quintessential Sonic the Hedgehog, despite there being fan favourites in current voice actor Roger Craig Smith and Ryan Drummond, who voiced him in the games. Robotnik, who in this series is voiced by the late Long John Baldry, whom a lot of fans consider as the voice of Robotnik. Showboating, arrogant, eccentric, naive, and loaded with charisma. I liken Baldry's portrayal of Robotnik to that of Mark Hamill's take on the Joker from Batman the Animated Series, as both men made their respective characters seem larger than life and really poured life and energy into their roles. Although, having said that, I now have this image of the Joker wanting to give himself a promotion, Batsy, and having an obsession with the word Pingus! Batsy, I have an obsession with the word Pingus! And then Batsy's just like, Joker, Arkham's that way, Whilst we're here, Baldry's Robotnik has become somewhat of an icon on YouTube in YouTube poop videos, where one fan was able to, through some precise editing, make Robotnik say Pingus, due to one episode where Scratch and Grounder fall through the door after crashing into the room where Robotnik utters the line, "Snooping as usual, I see." Just do a search for Robotnik YT poop videos and let's just say you'll be there for a few hours. The series ran for 65 episodes, consisting of self-contained stories of Sonic thwarting Robotnik's plans and dealing with his lackeys in Scratch and Grounder, who are the butt of the jokes in this show. Sonic acts like a parental figure in this to Tails, who states in slow going that he's only 4 years old. The two do act like partners, but Sonic is very protective of Tails, as he found him abandoned, in which he highlights the way they met in Tails' new home after he had been injured in a situation with the Badniks. A second series ran at the same time called Sonic the Hedgehog, which the fans dubbed Satam, or Saturday Morning, due to it airing at the weekends whilst Adventures of aired during the week. Saturday Morning was very different in tone and art style, as this is basically Sonic meets Batman, in the sense of Sonic is fighting against an empire led by Robotnik, who is much colder and sadistic than that of the Baldry portrayal. The ever-so-talented Jim Cummings, who you may remember as the voice of Darkwing Duck, gave this really cold, spine-tingling delivery in his voice that made this Robotnik sound like that villain you didn't want to watch without the lights on. And to be honest, I kind of prefer this incarnation of Robotnik, as it's like two sides of a coin. If Sonic represents day, then Robotnik was certainly night. Now I'm getting this weird image of Sonic being Superman and Robotnik as Batman. Although that said, I would like to hear Jim Cummings' delivery of Batman. The story in this is that Robotnik has been ruling Planet Mobius for the last 10 years with an iron fist. And if you saw Blast to the Past Part 2, that statement could not be any truer. Sonic is the co-leader of a band of freedom fighters in a forest refuge known as Knothole, where he and other co-leader, Princess Sally Acorn, have been hiding since they were 5 years old, when their nemesis took over and overthrew the royal Acorn family and roboticizing Sonic's uncle Chuck, whom we would learn from Blast to the Past Part 1, he was the inventor of this process to help people live longer. But of course, Robotnik, being the archetype douchebag that he is, abuses this process so that he can enslave the people of the world and be his willing robotic slaves that will do his bidding without questioning it. Where does this sound familiar? Sally is voiced by the female equivalent of Frank Welker in Kathy Sose. With so many roles ranging from Janine Melnitz in Season 2 of The Real Ghostbusters to Daisy Duck in Quack Pack and Lola Bunny in Space Jam. Kathy just gave this really soft, soothing delivery of the Mobian princess that, to me, at least, made her a very likable character along with the trait of being a starving perfectionist. Trying to grow up and be a surrogate mother figure to Tails and to the brains and engineering genius of the Freedom Fighters. Speaking of Tails, I was not a fan of the way he was so downplayed in this series. So much in that you only saw him in a small handful of episodes, from Druid Hedge to Antoine and Sonic minisodes, although he does play a very pivotal role in Season 1's Sonic and Sally, where he is able to tell Sally and her robotic doppelganger apart. Season 1 had a style of self-contained episodes, whereas Season 2 had a story arc that led to the Doomsday Project, where it's essentially Death Egg on Mobius being interconnected to all areas of the planet, with Doomsday pods being able to reach said areas. It would have been nice to see a continuation of this show, because in the 2007 release on DVD, Ben Hurst mentions that he had ideas for the ascension of Tails had this show gone to a third season. But this is never likely to happen now, with the sad passing of Ben Hurst in August of 2010. November of 1993 saw the release of Sonic CD onto the Mega CD. This introduced time travel for the first time into the Sonic series, of which occurs again later down the years. The object of this title is to stop Robotnik from effectively ruling time itself by travelling to different points on the Miracle Planet, as it's known as in the Fleetway Sonic the comic as, and destroy machines in each zone and then travel back to the respective time zones to defeat Robotnik in boss battles so that time has been restored properly. The gameplay style has been compared a lot to Sonic 2, and I can see the resemblance from the mechanics and to the design of the zones. It's one of the few games to include Sonic's Speed Dash move, known in other places as his Figure 8 move, where he's able to acquire speed like you would do in a Spin Dash, but standing upright. Also, the 2010 port of this game onto the Xbox Live Arcade and the PlayStation Network had its story retconned to suggest that this story now bridges between Sonic 4's Episode 1 and 2, which a lot of fans have responded saying that this is asinine and unnecessary. This game also gave a glimpse of things to come in the future, as this was the first Sonic game to have animated movie footage showing Sonic's journey to the Miracle Planet and that to the aftermath of Robotnik's defeat. Something he's used to by now, and the rescue of new character Amy Rose, who would go into the series to serve as Sonic's unrequited love interest. Which is getting a little old right about now.